The news emerging from Burkina Faso has sent ripples far beyond the borders of West Africa, reaching into the corporate boardrooms of some of the largest beverage companies in the world and sparking heated debate in the United States. Ibrahim Traoré, the young leader of Burkina Faso, has taken a bold and unexpected decision to ban 6 major American soda brands from the country, citing concerns over health, sovereignty, and economic independence. This announcement, while seemingly focused on something as ordinary as soft drinks, has become a symbol of much larger struggles that define the relationship between Africa and global powers. The ban is not just about sugar-laden beverages, but about who controls markets, who dictates standards, and who shapes the health and future of nations. To understand the gravity of this move, one must first appreciate the historical weight of food and beverage imports across Africa. For decades, multinational corporations, particularly those based in the United States, have dominated African consumer markets. Their products have become cultural fixtures, symbols of modernity, and often representations of American influence. The sight of a brightly labeled soda bottle in a village kiosk or a city supermarket is not just a matter of convenience. It is an imprint of globalization, a reminder of how foreign goods have penetrated deeply into African daily life. By banning 6 of the most iconic American soda brands, Traoré has done more than remove a drink from the shelves. He has questioned the entire architecture of dependency that such imports create. The official reasoning behind the ban, according to Burkina Faso's government, rests on 2 major arguments: public health and national sovereignty. The health argument is grounded in a growing body of research that links sugary sodas to obesity, diabetes, and a wide range of non-communicable diseases. Africa, once thought of as a region struggling mainly with undernutrition, is now facing a dual crisis: continued food insecurity alongside a surge in lifestyle-related diseases. In countries where public health systems are already under strain, the proliferation of unhealthy processed foods and sugary drinks threatens to overwhelm capacity. By targeting these 6 sodas, Traoré is making a statement that the health of his people cannot be sacrificed on the altar of corporate profits. Yet the second argument, sovereignty, cuts even deeper. For Traoré, this decision aligns with his broader philosophy of breaking away from external domination and asserting African self-determination. He has repeatedly framed his leadership as a rejection of neocolonial control, and in this case, American soft drinks have become symbols of a much larger power dynamic. The ban is, in effect, a cultural and economic stand against a system where African markets are treated as dumping grounds for products that wealthier nations themselves increasingly criticize for their health impacts. In banning these sodas, Traoré is sending a message to Washington, to multinational corporations, and to African citizens. Burkina Faso will no longer be passive in the face of economic exploitation disguised as trade. The reaction in the United States has been predictably fierce. Beverage companies, whose global strategies rely heavily on emerging markets like Africa, have expressed alarm. To them, Burkina Faso is not a huge consumer market in terms of raw numbers, but the precedent it sets could be devastating. If other African nations follow Traoré's lead, entire corporate strategies may unravel. It is one thing for American soda giants to deal with declining sales in their own country, where consumers are increasingly health-conscious, but quite another to lose ground in Africa, which has long been considered the growth frontier. American politicians, too, have taken note, interpreting Traoré's ban as an attack not just on companies, but on American influence itself. What makes this development particularly striking is how it has been embraced within Burkina Faso and across parts of Africa. Far from seeing it as a restriction, many citizens interpret it as liberation. Local media outlets have celebrated the move, framing it as a push for African dignity and independence. Some have even gone further, calling for additional bans on other imported goods that undermine local producers. Street interviews in Ouagadougou reveal a sense of pride that their leader is willing to stand up to powerful foreign corporations in the name of health and sovereignty. Farmers and small-scale producers, too, see opportunity. With American sodas gone, a gap opens in the market for locally made drinks, from traditional millet-based beverages to fruit juices produced with local ingredients. The symbolism of this ban cannot be overstated. Throughout modern history, food and beverages have often played outsized roles in geopolitics. From sugar to coffee, from tea to cocoa, the politics of consumption have always been deeply entangled with issues of power, trade, and identity. In Naïve, banning American sodas, Traore is reviving this tradition of food as politics, making a statement that what people drink is not just a matter of taste, but a matter of sovereignty. His decision echoes similar policies across the world where nations have sought to limit foreign influence through trade. But what makes this case unique is the boldness with which a small West African nation has stood up to some of the most powerful corporations in the world. Critics of Traoré, both inside and outside Burkina Faso, argue that the move may be more symbolic than practical. After all, banning a few soda brands will not solve the country's health crisis, nor will it automatically strengthen the local economy. Some warn that such bans may invite retaliation, whether through diplomatic pressure or trade restrictions. Yet supporters counter that symbolism is itself a form of power. By demonstrating that Burkina Faso is willing to act decisively, Traoré forces the world to take notice. In international politics, perception often matters as much as material reality. And the perception now is that Burkina Faso is charting its own course, regardless of who objects. At the same time, this move fits into a broader pattern of African nations increasingly asserting themselves on the global stage. From rejecting unfavorable trade deals to demanding accountability from foreign corporations, a new generation of African leaders is challenging the status quo. Traoré, with his youth, charisma, and unapologetically defiant style, has become a symbol of this movement. In choosing to ban American sodas, he is not just targeting a product, he is positioning himself as part of a wider struggle for Africa's political and economic future. The implications for American corporations are profound. If Burkina Faso inspires others, the African consumer landscape may begin to shift dramatically. Already there are discussions in neighboring countries about revisiting the role of foreign food and beverage imports. Governments, under pressure from both citizens and health advocates, may consider similar restrictions. For companies that have long relied on Africa as a safe haven for their products, the prospect of coordinated resistance is a nightmare scenario. It forces them to rethink strategies, invest more in local partnerships, or even withdraw certain products entirely. There is also the question of how this decision will affect U.S.-Africa relations. Trade has always been a cornerstone of these relationships, but when a product is banned for reasons that go beyond simple economics, the political fallout can be considerable. Washington may view this as part of a larger trend of African nations, moving closer to alternative alliances, whether with BRICS countries or other emerging powers. The ban could therefore accelerate geopolitical realignments, reinforcing the perception that American influence in Africa is waning. For ordinary Burkinabe citizens, however, the most immediate impact will be felt not in the halls of geopolitics, but in everyday life. Young people who grew up associating American sodas with status and modernity may initially feel a cultural gap. Yet this also presents an opportunity for local identity to be redefined around indigenous products. Cultural shifts often begin with small changes in daily habits, and Traoré's ban may well be remembered as a turning point in how Burkina Faso balances modernity with tradition. In the broader narrative of Ibrahim Traoré's leadership, This decision is entirely consistent with his vision. From the start, he has sought to challenge foreign domination in all its forms, whether military, political, or economic. His ban on American sodas is not an isolated policy but part of a coherent worldview that places African sovereignty above external influence. It is an assertion that even seemingly small aspects of consumer life carry profound political meaning, and that leadership requires the courage to confront powerful interests head-on. Ultimately, the story of Burkina Faso's soda ban will not be written solely in Ouagadougou or Washington, but across Africa and the world. It will depend on whether other nations choose to follow, whether corporations adapt or resist, and whether citizens embrace or reject the shift. But for now, the message is clear. Ibrahim Traoré has shocked the United States by turning an ordinary consumer good into a battlefield of sovereignty. And in doing so, he has reminded the world that power is not only exercised through armies and treaties, but also through the everyday choices of what people consume, who supplies it, and who profits. The banning of 6 American sodas may seem minor in the grand sweep of international affairs, but it is precisely its ordinariness that makes it so powerful. It is a reminder that global politics is not only shaped by high-level summits or military conflicts, but by the small decisions that affect the lives of millions. Ibrahim Traoré has shown that even the act of choosing what to drink can be transformed into an act of defiance, a gesture of independence, and a declaration of sovereignty. And so, as the dust settles, the world watches closely. Will Burkina Faso's bold stand inspire a wave of similar actions across Africa? Will it force American corporations to change their ways? Or will it remain a singular gesture, remembered mainly for its symbolism? Whatever the outcome, one fact is certain. In banning 6 American sodas, Ibrahim Traoré has once again demonstrated that leadership is about more than managing the present. It is about shaping the future.